So on the BB&J Podcast, a lot of times we talk about, these like bigger concepts, specific principles and whatnot. But to close out the year, I'd like to focus on some basic things, basic topics and terms from the world of modern marketing that you may have heard of and just may not be familiar with, and just kind of break it down, make it easy to understand. So that's what we're going to be talking about on today's episode of the BB&J Podcast. I am your host, as most of the time, John Lint, and let's get into it, right? So today, what are we talking about? We're talking about inbound marketing. So inbound marketing is the process of helping potential customers find your business. That is the most simple, straightforward way of putting it, right? But let's kind of get into that, right? I mean, that's the whole thing, of what is inbound marketing. So compared to other forms of marketing, inbound marketing really focuses on helping customers find you, helping potential customers find you, right? Not through the traditional thing of promotions, not through the traditional thing of like, hey, new sale 5 for 10, now available, right? But like so if you are a company that sells real estate, right? Just talking about the neighborhood, talking about the market, and like now is just a really good time to sell, especially if you're in this area because of these factors. That does a good job, because people are going to see that and be like, oh, this guy seems to know what he's talking about, and I think I'm ready to sell. Let me reach out. That is a lot of what modern marketing is, right? That is digital marketing at its core. The focus is inbound marketing. Do promotions have their purpose? Do, offers, deals, and discounts have their purpose? I mean, absolutely. There's a reason that they've been around for thousands of years. But inbound marketing specifically is a very new in that what you can do with it has expanded rapidly, and it's a very effective form of marketing. So if you're not currently doing it, that's something you may want to implement. And let's talk about that, right? How do you implement inbound marketing? Well, if you are taking a look at what you're doing with your marketing and you're like, you know what? I think I want to shift my focus more towards having my customers find me. How do you implement that? Well, the first thing is make sure that your customers can find you, right? Have social profiles on the places that they're looking, not just on social media platforms, but also on search engines, right? The second thing is, if you already have a presence on social media and you're like, I want to increase the amount of inbound marketing I'm doing, I want to increase the amount of people who are finding me, the best way to do that is content. The best way to do that is showcasing what makes you special, what makes you a good person to work with, what makes right now a good time to work with you, right? Like we were talking about with real estate. Talk about why it's a good time to buy a home. Talk about why it's a good time to sell a home, especially if you're trying to get someone in a specific area. So we're in Heron. So if I was a real estate brokerage trying to get people to sell with me in Heron, something that I might want to do is talk about why specifically in Heron it's a good time to sell. Talk about local things. Talk about, the area. Talk about events. Those kind of things are going to connect and make much more of an impact. And if you're trying to target a specific demographic, specific geographic demographic, right, you're going to want to focus on those things. if you're operating out of a specific area, and especially if you know who you want to attract, tailor your content for them. So if you're not on platforms that your target audience is on, not just like what the kids are on or whatever, but who you're trying to target, what platforms are they on, get on those as your business, not just your personal profile. That's fine. Make sure you make those business profiles. We talked about that a lot. The second thing is start putting out content that highlights you as a good beyond just like the expert or a really smart person or, make a bunch of money. Like, you're someone who is good to work with. Your team, your business, whatever it is something that people should work with, that your target audience should work with, right? Is going to want to work with. Because that is the core of inbound marketing. You're not even saying, hey, like, come on in. You're the bakery that is letting that fresh bread smell out of the business. So as people walk by, they're like, ooh, that smells really good. Let me go check that out. And here's the thing. Here's the special thing about it. It's cheaper. Inbound marketing overwhelmingly is cheaper than traditional marketing, and it looks better on social media. So yeah, let's kind of talk about some examples of implementing that. I kind of went over it, but let's get specific, right? So a great example of inbound marketing specifically is something that that Duolingo uses. I've noticed they've created like this whole persona for the Duolingo bird and engaging on social media, like creating this personality, this feel, right? When we talk about that, right? Creating an online personality, creating a brand voice. And why do you do that? Because people will see that and be like, oh, this seems fun. This seems like cool. This seems engaging and interesting and exciting. So maybe Duolingo is engaging, interesting, and exciting. And they'll be more likely to check it out. And guess what that leads to? More business. Cheaper than traditional marketing. It makes a difference. And am I saying you have to go at that level? No. A lot of people don't have the resources, the skill set, the manpower to do that. But be someone that people are excited to see. Because you will be someone where people are excited to work with. And on that note, I'd like to thank you so much for listening and or watching. I really do appreciate it. Like I said, these next few episodes, I'm going to be talking about specific terms and principles, concepts related to marketing, and I'll just keep going with it, right? So if there's anything specific that you'd like me to define, please let me know in the comments, and I'll get on it, okay? And like I said, with that, I'm your host, John Lint. You've been listening to the BB&J Podcast, and I will see you next week.